I'm David Shoebridge, one of the Greens MPs in the New South Wales Parliament. I think the concept of multiculturalism and a belief in peace and harmony, these are two concepts that are so closely connected, because in a successful and vibrant multicultural society, like I think we have here in Australia, unless you have a grounding in peace and harmony with this concept that we have an obligation to not just tolerate, but respect and celebrate each other's differences, and do it with a commitment to peaceful and positive dialogue. I think unless you have that peace and harmony as your underpinning for a multicultural society, the project won't work. And so, as a Greens MP, I think it's critical that one of our founding principles is peace and non-violence. We apply that in our work as individuals, we apply that in our work as a party, and we apply it when we're talking about local, state, federal and international relations. Peace and non-violence, peace and harmony are integral to the Green political project. And I think that's why I find a real resonance with my work as a Greens MP, because I see Greens around the world committing to these concepts of peace, harmony and non-violence. This is a project, a global creative project, collaborating with artists from around the world, celebrating the work of Rahat, celebrating the concept of peace and harmony, and doing it with artists that are actually building a global community. And we have a global community that is desperately in need of messages of peace and harmony. And so I welcome this project. And what I hope it is the start of ongoing creative collaborations of artists, of poets, of musicians, and maybe even of politicians. So we finally get a world that reflects these values of justice and peace and harmony.
Well, my friend Abbas, I want to thank you for this. This is a beautiful, beautiful project. I think it's a testimony to friendship. And your friendship with Om Krishan Rahat, it's spanned many, many years, and the way you're honouring his memory is by having brought people together to create a beautiful CD that not is only of music that lines with the poetry, but also of his poetry. And I think it's something special, and everyone knows you as a person who promotes peace and harmony and acceptance, and you have a history of bringing people together. You brought 64 people together for this. People of different faiths, of different backgrounds, different colours, all to bring poetry to life. And the question is what the poetry is about. This is a book and a CD about life. And we all live our life. It doesn't matter what we believe in. It doesn't matter where we come from. It doesn't matter how much money we have. We all have those challenges of life. Love, growing up, disappointments, joy. But ultimately, this is about humanity. And that's what you're known for. And I think, you know, rest his soul, Om Krishan Rahat would be grateful that you had as a friend in you, that you would do something like this, that you have brought people together. I can't wait to listen to this. I'll have it on in my car, because I think you don't need to understand Urdu to understand the depth of poetry. It's in the way that it's presented. You don't need to understand Urdu to understand the music, but you get the feeling of what it is. And anything that brings people together is something that I support. Anything that promotes harmony is something I support. Acceptance is something I support. And we're old friends, and you and I are old friends, and I have enormous respect for you and the work you do, because a lot of people talk about harmony, but you go out of your way to make sure that you bring it together. So well done to you and to all of the 64 people who volunteered and gave up their time, thousands and thousands of dollars worth of volunteering for this. I think it's really quite beautiful, but it's a fitting tribute to a memory. And what that tells me is that when you have a good friend, you stick with that friend. And that's an admirable trait. So one of the things that I love about this compilation, Abbas, is that 64 people gave up their time and their expertise to do it. And these people from different backgrounds, whether there were some different religious backgrounds, different nationalities, but you've brought 64 people together. And I would encourage every single one of those people to continue with this. Because when we can bring that many people together, then we're promoting peace, we're promoting harmony, we're promoting acceptance, and we're promoting an understanding of one another. So, you know, people to give up their time and expertise, that really means a great deal, but it's so important. So I want to thank you for leading it, But I want to thank and acknowledge the 64 who made this possible. And it is a beautiful, I love it. It's actually quite beautiful. Really well done. But that's how we create a better Australia, when we're actually all together. So thank you again, and thank you to all of the volunteers. The 64, that's a huge number. Well done.
Hi, I'm Stephen Barley, the State Member for Blacktown. Om Krishan Rahat lived for the last 20 years in the Blacktown City area across Western Sydney. He epitomises really the Western Sydney way of life and thinking. He united the Indo-Pakistani community. He wrote about the challenges for people living in poverty and brought peace and love through his works, and showed people the way of improving their lifestyle, which is really a reflection of Western Sydney being a massive multicultural community, bringing everyone together. A lot of people from all walks of life have been coming out to Western Sydney for the past 70 odd years, and people like Om Krishan Rahat has made a significant difference in not only making us reflect on ourselves, but also making sure that we provide the right services and support for people that are suffering in poverty, and to lift everyone up and to work together. So he was a wonderful poet, a sad loss to not only Western Sydney, but to Australia and the entire world. His poetry will live on.
My name's Lee Rhiannon. I'm a former Australian Senator. Australia is a very proud multicultural nation. More than 190 nations have people who have come to this country and made it their home. Today I have been presented with this CD of Rahat's poetry and music, something that I'm very much looking forward to hearing. The whole concept of global cultures, I think, is so important. It's something that out of our multiculturalism we have benefited from in Australia, but I don't think enough. And I think Rahat needs to be more widely recognised. So I congratulate everybody who's been involved in this CD for pulling together the beautiful music, the poetry of Rahat, also the artistry, the beautiful paintings here, and it's something that has global significance. It's a beautiful message we can take to the world. Global cultures can help bring peace and harmony.
I'd like to congratulate everyone who's involved in the We Australians Are Creative Rahat release. It's a fantastic celebration of the poems of Rahat and put to music. And look, music is one of those things that brings people together. It really does resonate with everyone, with the social cohesion. It also promotes peace and harmony, and couldn't we use a little bit of that at the moment? I really do say to you all involved, it is the best way to bring people together, and congratulations to all.
On the day before September 11, 2001, a few years before I was elected to Parliament, a small group of people gathered in Montreal, part of a campaign to convince UNESCO to adopt an instrument on cultural diversity, an instrument that would put cultural rights up there with human rights. The instrument was adopted in 2005, and I just want to share with you some of the words by the then director Koichiro Matsuura at the time. The instrument raises cultural diversity to the level of the common heritage of humanity, as necessary for humankind as biodiversity is for nature, and makes its defence an ethical imperative indissociable from the respect for the dignity of the individual. The Declaration aims both to preserve cultural diversity as a living and thus renewable treasure that must not be perceived as being unchanging heritage, but as a process guaranteeing the survival of humanity. Great words, and words absolutely embodied in the album that we launched today. An album that honours the poetry of one of Australia's great poets, Krishan Rahat. An album that, in collaboration with many musicians whose cultural practices come from all around the world, reflects us, who we were, who we are, and who we're becoming. Thank you to everybody involved in making this happen. You are holding up a mirror that lets us see ourselves more clearly. Thank you, and well done to all of you.
Hi everyone, I'm Ed Husick. I'm the Federal Member for Chifley, Federal Electorate that stretches from Blacktown to Marsden Park in Sydney's west. And I wanted to quickly congratulate everyone associated in the incredible Rahat Project. It's very humbling to hear the story of Om Krishan Rahat, a person who, since his arrival in Australia in 1996, did a lot to bring people from Indo and Pakistani communities together. And while he's no longer with us, he's left behind a legacy that will live forever through touching, inspiring writing. And the Rahat Project is a perfect example of community social cohesion and inclusion, bringing together 64 artists from various ethnicities to promote peace in multicultural Australia. Our nation's rich cultural diversity is one of our great strengths. Besides being a great multicultural society, we're home to one of the world's oldest continuous cultures as well. And the Rahat Project has built on our shared values of social harmony, working towards a prosperous future for all. And the important project that it is would not have occurred without a lot of people dedicating a lot of time and belief in the project itself. And I want to send a big thank you to Abbas Raza Alvi and everyone involved in the Rahat production team for their efforts in putting this project together. And thank you for honouring Om Krishan Rahat. We appreciate all your contributions, and I personally wish you every success moving forward with the Rahat project. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Shashi Tharoor, Member of Parliament from Thiruvananthapuram in India and Chairman of the All India Professionals Congress. And I'm pleased to learn that We Australians Are Creative Inc., or WAACI, under the leadership of President Abbas Raza Alvi, is producing a unique ghazal album titled Rahat, which, as the title also suggests, is based on the poetry of the late Mr. Om Krishan Rahat, a renowned Urdu and Hindi poet who sadly passed away in Australia in 2018. Featuring the creative talents of nearly 65 artists from across the globe, including Australia, New Zealand, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Spain, Fiji, UK, Malaysia, Spain and Cambodia, this album commendably seeks to promote peace and harmony through the various musical themes it brings together. In addition to this remarkable creative and collaborative project, the WAACI is also working on a documentary that captures footage from behind the scenes of the Rahat Project to further reiterate the importance of the two driving principles behind its creation, the principles of peace and harmony. These are vital themes for all of us to engage in today, particularly in the light of how the societies we live in have increasingly become stratified, hostile, and more insular and more polarized. The pandemic has only further exacerbated these worrying trends. It seems increasingly likely that COVID-19 might inaugurate an era where the world may embrace isolationism and protectionism far more enthusiastically than before, an era where strict border and immigration controls and travel restrictions are deemed essential, an era where, in many places, democratic niceties and individual liberties are being dispensed with or abridged. Let me say, while these are worrying and concerning trends, they are not irreversible. And individuals, as well as larger groups like WAACI, can play a vital role in arresting these trends. Projects like Rahat can, in championing the principles of peace and harmony, help us collectively resist the narrative of fear and suspicion peddled by hate mongers and those who would rather see our diverse societies reduced to our differences rather than what bridges us and what brings us together. It always gives me great hope to encounter a civil society group committed to these values and playing its part in ensuring that divisions don't prevail and that coexistence and harmony are celebrated. Let me congratulate President Alvi, who all of you know has dedicated his life to this noble cause, as well as the various members of WAACI and the talented artists who've come together to spread this message. I wish all of you continued success in fostering in our societies a renewed appreciation of the principles of peace and harmony, of coexistence, of diversity, and of unity. Thank you very much for inviting me to give this message all the very best.
I am very happy to learn that Mr. Abbas Raza Alvi and his team in Australia are bringing out a CD to promote communal harmony. I have always believed, and so have the right-thinking people across the globe, that if this world has to exist, communal harmony is the key. And it is a matter of great pleasure that this initiative has been taken by a group of Australians, and I wish them all success. I also take this opportunity of conveying my congratulations and best wishes to Mr. Abbas Raza Alvi in all their future endeavors. Thank you.
To protect peace and harmony, the Almighty, who governs the world in his own often mysterious ways, draws out music, poetry, and art from people. The rest of us contribute by listening. By listening, for example, to a gift like Rahat. By watching and absorbing the world around us. By silently reflecting. By coming close to the creative. By indicating our solidarity with the courageous. Many in our world, in our troubled world today, are looking expectantly at Australia's varied, wonderful, and valiant people.